Nope, started over. Didn't light the candle.
Join the team.
Man. There was smoke everywhere up in here. There was smoke up in here. Hey team, this is the McGuire Review, and today we're going to do a very special video on a brand new game. Actually, 2 games and a giveaway, so let's lock in and get ready to go. Woo! Okay, let's look at the brand new one from Tabula Games. If you guys don't know who these guys are, they are the ones that made Mystia. We got it right here. We did an unboxing of the Kickstarter delivery for this game. This is an awesome game. If you guys haven't played this, team, I highly recommend this game. Go pick it up. You're going to like it. It's a great game. And it goes right along with this game. We're going to talk about how cool this game is, as well as what they have done, which is a very, very innovative thing. And it's something, frankly, I think more game designers need to do, more game publishers need to do. And I've seen them do it a little bit, but I feel like these guys really nailed it with what they created here. So this is Icaion here from Tabula Games, and it will be hitting Kickstarter next week. So next week, even from when this video comes out, starting next week, I believe it's on May the 21st, we are going to see this hit Kickstarter. It's a 14 plus, 2 to 4 players, 90 to 120 minutes. This is just the prototype. This is the prototype box. I'll put this down right here. And this is what we are going to do a giveaway on. And I'm going to go ahead and queue it up. We're going to talk about it here a little bit later. But one of the things that makes this platform so cool is they have created another game, another product, and it's called Mystia the Fall. Now, both of these products are going to be coming to Kickstarter, both this as well as Icaion here. However, the Mystia the Fall is another special product that ties this game and this game that's already out, Mystia, together and creates a third game. That's right. Not only have they created sort of a trilogy of games that all fit inside the same, concept, the same universe, the same storyline, they've also created another game by use of some of the components in this game, by use of some of the components in this game, and by a very small addition of components, you now have an entirely different third game that kind of fits into the universe. Ooh, yes, it's phenomenal. The way they have executed on that, it's super innovative, and the way all 3 of these games tie together is really cool. And this game is, team, it's a standalone game. This is not like they cheaped out and they just said, hey, let's create another game mode to one of these games and then we'll just call it a new game. No, it is a full standalone, different game, full-scale experience than what you're going to get in Mystia or what you're going to get in this game here, all right? It's a completely different game. We're going to talk about it here at the end of the review, but I want to get into this one. But before we do, that's right, we're going to do another epic level giveaway on both what you see here, okay, the prototype of this brand new game, Icaion, cannot ever get the name right, on Icaion, as well as the Mystia the Fall kit here, which I will send to you, and this has got the components in it that will allow you to play the trilogy. However, you are going to need to have Mystia, so if you're the winner and you've already got this game, you got the trilogy. If you weren't the winner, you're going to want to pick up this game if you want to make use of this third prototype edition of this third game that ties these 2 games together into a new game. All right? We're going to do it the giveaway the same way we always do. It's open worldwide, shipped to you for free. Bear's going to press the button of fate on the last day of the Kickstarter of Icaion. On the last day of Icaion, I keep wanting to say Icaion or Icon or Icaion. Icaion. So the last day of Icaion, when we hit, and I hope that's right. On the last day of Icaion's Kickstarter, Bear's going to hit the button of fate, and one lucky subscriber that's commented below is going to win all of this. And you're getting a pretty sweet deal here. You're getting the prototype edition of 2 games, essentially. You are getting the resin. You will notice there are a set number of miniatures. There's these little shards that plug into the Colossus. This is so sweet the way this works. I love this mechanic. You're going to get the Colossus. You're going to get the 4 characters that are included in the game. I do have all of them out on the board right now. So we got these 2 characters up here, and I'll just go ahead and set them up here so you can take a look at them. We'll get the miniature cam down on them here in just a little bit when Bear brings up the overhead. But there are 2 characters that I'm playing with. I got queued up here for sort of our run through of what this game applies, and as well as this giant, awesome Colossus. You're going to get all those miniatures. These are resin. They are super high quality, and they are table ready. And that's the thing that's different about these in this giveaway. These, you'll notice, have already been dusted with some like white color paint to bring out all of the detail, and they've been dipped and washed. So all of the detail on these are going to be showing, and they're already out. They're table ready, ready to go. Okay? You're going to get those miniatures. I want to keep them, but I'm going to give them away. You're also going to get the little addition to tie the trilogy together, which I also want to keep, but I'm going to give it away. All right, that's how I roll. This has got nothing to do with Tabula Games. They don't say, hey, you need to do a giveaway. This is something that I do for the team. Yes, I want to keep it, but I feel like that's the way I give back. You guys are watching the video. You're subscribing. That's how I give back, okay? But if you want to be a winner, you got to subscribe. You got to be part of the team. That's the deal. And comment below. Last day, Kickstarter. Bear hits the button of fate, okay? You're also going to get something really cool you can stick on your laptop. They did include a sticker, which I thought was pretty awesome. I don't know. I guess the production version, the Kickstarter version, may have this as well. Who knows? I assume so, but there is a really cool sticker that was included there in the box, and I'll throw that in as well. So that's kind of cool. You put that on your laptop. All right, let's get into the game. We're through kind of the giveaway. Let's get into the game now and talk about what we've got here. At heart, Icaion is it's got Euro components. It's got worker placement components. I wouldn't say this is like a character development or an adventure or a questing kind of game. You could look at some of the actions you're trying to do as sort of questing. So yeah, you could have kind of that questing aspect. But at heart, it's kind of a Euro. It's a worker placement. But I think it's executed in a way that makes it really fun. And I don't want to say that like Euros aren't fun. Euros are fun games. I'm more of kind of an adventure questing kind of game player. I prefer those types of games over more of your traditional just worker placements or Euros, although I do have a lot of Euros and worker placements that I highly recommend and I very much enjoy. I really like sort of those thematic character building, questing, adventure kind of games. And what's nice is they've given you components of that and theming of that in more of a Euro kind of worker placement style game. We'll talk about how they've executed that because I think they've done it really nice. I'm going to keep the rule book here with us as we kind of go through here, and the reason is because I want to make sure that I get the all the actions that you're able to take and how those actions play out accurate. And the reason is because there are not a lot of rules to this book, and you'll see, again, this is all prototype. Here's a prototype rule book, and that's about it, right? There's a few pages for the rules, then there's a few pages here in the back that detail out what all these symbols and cards mean, and there aren't that many in the game, so it's very easy to memorize those things, and you're ready to go. There are, however, quite a few actions you can take, different types of things you can do on your turn, and they're not as simple as just saying, well, I'm just going to move here, I'm just going to take this, I'm just going to do that. There's a small amount of rule set that's built around each one of those actions. So I will have the book here, make sure I don't forget anything, because they're all really cool. So I want to make sure we go over them all. One thing that I would recommend is this continues to get built out with Kickstarter, goes into production. It wasn't included in the prototype set anywhere. However, I would like to see a reference card. I think that's necessary for this game. I would like to see maybe a Tarot-sized card, reference card, not a standard, definitely not a little card, not a standard card, like probably a Tarot-sized card that has each one of the actions and then a couple little rule sets around that action for the players. I think that would be very beneficial and very helpful as new players start to play. I found with this one, although it's like, hey, you can only do this many actions, this is what each one is, okay, sounds easy. When it's your turn, it's like, how do you do that again? Or what are all those things you can do? It isn't really readily available right in front of you. I mean, on your card here, there's a few different things that will tell you kind of what different machines do and whatnot, but everything isn't 100% handled, I think, in iconography. The iconography that is there, I think, does a really good job, but I feel like that reference card is going to really make the initial player experience a lot better. So it's just kind of my feedback, I think, to the group there. So you're going to set up the board much like it's set up right now. You're going to have these things called apparatuses, these little crystals, kind of a diamond-shaped object that's going to be here in the middle. This is the center. These are all regions on the map, and there are 5 different types of regions, as there's 3 of each of those 5 that are on the map. So, for instance, sort of our blue water region here, you'll see there is the water quorum crystal that is a resource that can be gained there. There are only 3 of those on the map. There's one here, and if it's outside of connected to the center, it's called an external region. It's an internal region if it's connected to the city here. We've got a blue here, we've got a blue here, and we've got a blue here. Okay, so those are all the blue regions that are on the board, and there's only 3 of each type. You will set up the game by having all of your apparatuses in the center. The Colossus will start in one of the craters. So these are the craters that are on the outside, these larger circles here, and that Colossus will sort of move around over the course of the game to those different craters. And if you want to investigate that Colossus and gain these really cool shards that are worth different value reputation points. Also, if you have a certain number of them, if you collect them over the course of the game, at the end of the game, depending on what gear you have, what character you have, you can even gain even more reputation points and get more points for these if you have them. So there's lots of different ways to win the game. It does come down to your reputation points. Player with the highest reputation points wins. However, there are tons of different strategies of getting those reputation points. Investigating colossuses, getting shards, eradicating parasites. These little bits here that are used for the prototype are parasites that get put on these different regions, and you can just go on an eradication mission and just take out all these parasites, and then you get reputation points for that as well. Okay, so you're going to set up the map. You're going to put a certain number of quorum here on these different regions, and you do have to match the color. Green goes with green, white goes with the white, orange with the orange. Okay, pink goes with this brown. So, and they all do different things. Pink will help you investigate and cash in for shards. Blue will help you move. The white will help you fight. So the brown is kind of the brown one here is kind of a wild card. You can use this for any type of action. So they will do different things, and you will need them to deploy these little machines. Every player is going to have a set number of machinery. You'll see this here. I have 9 machines for each one of these players, and they're different machines. They do different things. Love this mechanic of how the machinery works. We're going to talk about that here in a second, because I think it's where it really makes this worker placement a beautiful experience. You're going to place your characters on various different nodes around the board. So you're not going to move to regions. There's these little white dots that are included that are on the map, and they're just in these little points here between the regions. And that's where you're going to basically move to. That's how you're going to move around the board, is from these little points, which they call nodes. And your character is going to start on one of those nodes. There's only certain nodes you can start the game on, and that's where your character is going to be set and is going to start. You're going to have a token here to represent your reputation as you gain that over the course of the game. You're then going to have an event deck, and you're actually going to have 3 of these Colossus cards, and they're going to be set right there. You're going to put that out there randomly, and it's going to represent each year of the game. So this game will essentially have 3 rounds of gameplay, and each full round is a year within this environment. And that's how that's going to play out. I do have one of those Colossus cards already in my event deck, because you will start by taking that first year one, you'll shuffle it into your event deck, and then every time it's a player's turn, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to flip one of those cards into your event deck, and you're going to do a set number of things before you start to decide which actions you want to take. All right? So, for instance, I just flipped over this first one to start the game, and it shows kind of the water world there, the water region. So I'm going to know that, hey, I need to place quorum in this water region. And I'm going to go to this board, and this board, the spot where the card is going to lay, is going to show me a set number of little icons and symbols. And it's going to show me here, wherever it has the diamond and it has a number, that's how many of those quorum I'm going to set in the different water or blue regions around the board. So all 3 of them are going to get 2 blue quorum, and I'm going to populate those up, and I'm going to put them in those regions. There's also a parasite symbol. Well, that means that I'm within those 3 regions as well. I'm going to place parasites. Now, depending on how many players there are, we have 2. If you have 2 or 3, you don't place any parasites in the areas around the city. You only place them on the external. If you have more, if you have 4 players, you're going to place them in all 3 of the regions on the board for whatever region you pulled, if it's a region card that you pulled. Okay? And then that's all you're going to do. You're going to put that down. Then you're going to start taking your player actions. If, for instance, you were to randomly draw one of the year Colossus cards, that would come out just like any other card, but there would be more things that would happen, and essentially it would have to do with the Colossus. The Colossus may attack anyone that's within that area. The Colossus may move to another area, wounding characters as it moves through. The Colossus, there's a set number of things the Colossus can do based on that card. And there's also one more little symbol that's on here that you're going to follow, which is down in this bottom corner here. That's going to tell you how far the Colossus is going to move. And it's essentially just it moves 1, it moves 2, it moves 3, it moves 4. So depending on randomly when that Colossus card comes out within that first round, the first round is only going to take you to the 5th spot before you shuffle them all back up and then pull in now your second year and kind of reset for the next year. That's going to be how far that Colossus is going to move around the board. So you're going to want to kind of pay attention to that to see, how many cards have come out so far, how many are left, and what's the chance the Colossus is the next one pulled, maybe the next 2 pulled. And if you played that out, how far is he going to move and where is he going to be? And you might want to position yourself either away from that because he's going to attack, or you might want to position yourself somewhere near it because right when he stops, you're going to go in and try to investigate and get some more of these shards. And I just have these laying here because every year you're going to select a number of them randomly and you're going to plug them into that base. You're going to keep plugging them in because, you may have players that aren't always going to investigate. So, you're going to have them available for you to get at. All right, so that's how that mechanic is going to work from the very beginning and as you start to play the game. Here, it's a very simple player setup. You just kind of put your machinery over in this order here, harvesters, gatherers, and refineries. In that order over these 9 boxes. You're going to have some set iconography here on your character, which could be drawn randomly, as well as a special gear expansion, which will be drawn randomly. And based what's on these cards, it will give you benefits as you're playing the game. It will give you benefits at the end of the game. And those are all different for every one of these cards. So each time you play the game, it does give you that bit of replayability where you're going to get a different character, you're going to get a different gear loadout, and that's going to kind of change how you might play that character, and it might change your strategy for how you go about playing the game. So for instance, my character here at the end of every round allows me to move to any node that I want on the game board. So I can say, you know what, I'm just going to zap right over here because on my next turn I want to do a bunch of refinery like collection. I want to get a bunch of quorum, and that's a good spot to be. Or I want to zap right over here. That'd be another good place to harvest and get quorum from every adjacent region. Maybe I've got a bunch of machinery out there already which give me benefit to harvesting those quorum as well. So, or maybe I want to get to the Colossus. So that's a cool ability that allows me to do that at the end of every round. This character allows me, every time I draw a curio card, these like special action cards, which you will start with 3, it allows me to immediately gain a reputation point. So I just, boom, get a reputation point just for drawing a curio card. So I may want to use a strategy with this player over the course of the game of figuring out ways that I can draw a lot of curio cards because that's going to give me reputation points every time I do that. Now, when we get to the gear, this says at the very end of the game, I get 3 reputation points times however many shards I've collected. So because I randomly got that gear loadout, I probably, as a player, my strategy over the course of the game is probably going to be trying to get as many of these shards as I possibly can. And you need pink quorum to be able to really execute on those shards. So I'm going to want to harvest and gather a lot of pink quorum. I'm going to want to get a lot of shards because at the end, every one of them I have, I multiply by 3 and I get that many reputation points. So you can see that some of these loadouts will somewhat probably define what your strategy as a player should be as you're playing. You don't have to do that. Maybe it works out through the course of the game. You get lucky with another way of winning, but that's probably going to drive some of the initial strategy for what you're going to go for. This character here at the beginning of each round automatically gains 3 different types of crystal quorum. So I'm going to be able to gain a lot of quorum throughout the game with this character because of this loadout, which means I'm probably going to want to unlock quite a few of my areas where that quorum is stored. So let's go right into how this board works because it's super cool. Bear, load up the overhead because I think we've gone through most of the components now. We can start taking a deep dive. You can see some of this stuff up close. Thank you. All right, so when we look at these character boards, they're going to have the power spike. This, if you've played Mystia, this is going to feel normal to you. They kind of had this concept in that game where you could sort of flip this as a player and get this big like power boost action. Same concept here. Every player does have that where they're able to kind of do that over the course of a round. They can flip that and take a big power action. We already talked about the character, the loadout. You do have a little spot here to store shards as you do kind of collect those over the course of the game. There's a little spot to set those and collect them. And then there are 3 tracks, and that's the way you can think about this. There's an attack track, there's a movement and camp track, and there is a store stuff that you can find on the board track. And you as a player will decide as you're playing how you want to strengthen and unlock these tracks based on deployment of your 3 different types of machinery. And that's what's cool because you can say, normally in a worker placement or in a Euro, you have a set number of actions that are just available to every player from the very beginning, and you will utilize those actions as you see fit, turn to turn as a player. And then at the end, whoever has executed those turns the best way is the winner because you'll have the highest points. However, in this game, you have the same concept, but as a player, you can choose how to strengthen and unlock those different actions that you can take as you play. So one of the actions you'll be able to do is deploy. I absolutely love this. You'll be able to deploy these machines to the board. And you have harvesters, you have harvesters, you have scavengers, and refineries. I keep forgetting, I forget the scavengers. Harvesters, scavengers, and refineries. And they can be deployed. They have to be deployed from left and right. So you have to start here. You can't just say, I'm going to deploy this one. You got to start over here. There's an action where you can deploy them to the board. And which essentially means is you can just take them, you can pay the cost of whatever it would cost to deploy them, and you can deploy them on the board. And then they'll give you a benefit. But really, it unlocks another spot of that ability. So let's say I was to just deploy this harvester at one point on my turn. Now, if I wanted to attack on another turn, I could pay one of these white quorum. They refer to these as gray. You can play one of those gray quorum, and you can take out 2 parasites. You now have 2 fight instead of 1 fight. When this was here before, you only had 1 fight. That's all that's available. Same with move. When you can move 2 nodes, or you can pay 1 blue quorum and you can camp, which means you'll kind of stay where you're at. When you unlock this harvester, now you can move 2, you can pay a blue quorum to move 1 more. When you unlock this, you can play a blue quorum and you move 2 more. So you have to figure out as a player, do I want to be the type of player that just moves all over the place a lot? Well, for this guy here, yeah, I probably do. So for this character, I'm probably going to work on unlocking more spots to store a bunch of quorum, and I'm probably going to unlock more spots to be able to move a lot. Because I want to be able to move around the board real quick to get to this Colossus. Well, you remember, he had a special ability to do that, so I don't know, maybe I don't need to. Maybe I can use that special ability to move around the board real fast, and I work on unlocking my fight skill. this is actually a pretty good loadout, because not only am I going to have the benefit at the end if I get those crystals, I can, use his ability to move around the board quickly, and then deploy this row to have a good fight, and then be able to pay 1 gray and then fight 1, 2, 3, and if I get this one unlocked, I can even reflip over my power and get 5 immediate 5 immediate reputation points. That's what this last one does if it unlocks it. For this row, every one of them does something different. So I love that mechanic that they went about utilizing, sort of that custom, how do I unlock my skills and strengthen the skills that are given to me, sort of level them up over the course of the game. And I think that's where sort of I don't want to say character development, but it's sort of you're unlocking your character in different ways depending on how you're unlocking these machines and deploying them to the board. And then once they're deployed to the board, you get benefits from them. Each one of them gives you a different benefit. We're going to hit the book here, and we're going to talk that through here in a minute. That's how this board works, and that's really conceptually how a lot of the game works. You're unlocking machines, you're gaining benefits from them, you're moving around the board, you're collecting quorum, you're using that quorum, and you're spending that quorum to unlock other things, to pay for things, to do battle against these parasites, and then you're getting reputation points for all of that. At the end of the game, the person with the highest reputation points wins the game. So at a high level, that's how this game operates. It's how this game plays out. It's how this game works. All right. Now we're going to dive a little deeper into each one of these actions, and then we're going to get into Mystia the Fall, and I'm going to tell you about what that game brings to the table. All right. So the different actions you can take on your turn. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to move, and you have to either move. You can move to 2 nodes, or you can camp. Now, if you want to camp, you may say, why would you ever want to do that? Like, if you're available to move, wouldn't you want to move? I don't know. Maybe you don't want to move because you want to be able to harvest from a certain area that you're at. Or maybe you don't want to move because, you know a Colossus is coming to that area and you want to investigate and he's getting closer to you. So there's absolutely strategy to not having to move. And that's why if you don't want to move, they make you pay for it. You got to pay a blue quorum if you don't want to move and you want to camp down. And I started the game. You will start the game. These little cards will tell you how much quorum you start the game with and which type. This character started with 2 gray and 2 pink. This character started with a blue and a green. It's right here on the cards. It's very simple. It just tells you how much you start with. Or maybe you just don't have any. You've been playing the game. But you will have to pay that quorum to be able to stay there. Or you have to move up to 2 nodes. You can just move 1 if you want, but you do have to move. Okay, after that's done, then what you're going to do is you're going to do one of these standard actions, and you have to do one of them. It isn't an option to not do an action. This game is always about you have to do something. You're always moving. You got to do something. Okay, and then you may perform a special action, which is essentially activating your big power boost or playing one of your curio cards. And these are just simple. They're just little action cards, essentially. They're going to give you different abilities. Some of them are instant, where like this, let's see. See if we can, these are all passive sort of. So this one's an instant one here. Just has 2 little diamond symbols on it. Basically just means gain 2 little quorum, okay? And it just immediately happens. You cash it in, it's done, okay? These have a little refresh symbol on them. It's just a tiny little symbol there to the corner that has like a little refresh symbol. If it has that, that's sort of an active ability, and you just sort of put it in play, and it's passed, and it's just active. And you can only activate it once per turn, but it's an active thing, and you can only have so many of those in play. Your cards will actually indicate to you how many of those you can have. Here on your player card, just the white squares is your hand size. And then the white squares with the little refresh symbol in it is how many of these active ones you can sort of have in play. So for instance, this character has a hand size of 4. This character has a hand size of 4. However, this character can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these abilities in play at once. This character can only have 3. Okay, and that's balanced based on the abilities that you actually have here with your character in your loadout card. So you can have a lot more active abilities in play if you got this guy, which could be very powerful depending on which ones you end up getting. All right, so that's how those curio cards work, and that's one of the special actions. You can play those cards if you want to, but you don't have to do that. All right, so the actions that you must do, we must do one of them. You can extract. Extracting is all about moving to an area and like harvesting the quorum that's in that area. So let's say that it was my turn and I wanted to move. Well, a smart first move for this player would be to go 1, 2, and now I'm going to extract. And the reason why is because I can extract 1 quorum from every region that I'm adjacent to that has quorum. And if there's machines that are already there that are mine, that are mining and producing more stuff, I get even more of a benefit. All right? That's probably a good first turn for me as the blue player. And there are little bases that go on these to indicate this is blue player, red player. I just don't have them on. But they are included in the prototype set. And there's a lot of extra little bits that are included in the prototype set that you can use for different things. You don't have to. So I just wanted to call that out. But I could come here and I could harvest this area here, and I would get a pink, I'd get a green, I'd get 1 blue. Pretty sweet, right? Get all that. However, I gotta have an area that I can put it. Now I do have an open container here, so I could grab all those and put that in that open container. Now how this works though, there is a funny rule with this quorum. Like you can't just say, well, I'm going to just continue to put more here. Nope. Once you put quorum in a containment area, it's locked down. It's closed. Now this one's open. Well, if I just put 1 there, it's locked down, it's closed. But if I put, all 3 of there, I got 3 of them there, locked down, closed. I can't put more in there until I get that out of there, or if I want to put more in there, I got to take what's there and it goes back to the general supply. So you do need to manage, and that's why it's important to unlock more of these storage units if you're going to be someone who's going to be using a lot of this quorum over the course of your game for your strategy. You're going to want to unlock more of these so you have that readily, availability to sort of like move quorum around and have enough spots to put the quorum in. Right? That's what extracting is all about. Part of the extract action is also activating machines, but you got to have machines already out on the board. And the 3 different machines, if you activate a harvester, which is these here, you're going to gain extra quorum. If you activate a scavenger, you're going to be able to draw a curio card. Now remember, this character's all about getting points when they draw curio cards. So you're probably going to want to get a lot of scavengers out. You're probably going to want all your scavengers out on the board, and you're going to want to extract on those scavengers a lot. So you're drawing curio cards and getting points. And that's just because of that particular loadout. And then you got your refineries, which give you immediately 2 reputation points when you activate them when you're adjacent to them. Okay? So that's how those machines are going to work on the extract. You can then deploy a machine. We talked a little bit about that. That's basically, just taking the machine, paying a cost, deploying it to an area, and that's simply how that works. I mean, it's pretty simple. You pay the cost, you deploy it to the area. There are some limits on the regions, so that you can only have 3 machines per region, and they do have to differ by color and type. So that can get a little difficult strategy-wise as the game plays out over the course of year 2 and year 3, because you're really going to have machines all over the place, and you're going to be thinking about, like, where do I put the machine? Oh, there's already a type there that's the same, or oh, there's already another color that's the same. I already got one of those there. So you're going to have to think about where you strategically place your machines as you play the game. Okay, that's deploying the machine. You're going to eradicate parasites. Very simple. Move to an area, and you can pay quorum, the gray quorum here, and you can kill however many you've unlocked. Again, if you've unlocked this whole row, you can kill 3 or 4 of them, right? No, 3 of them max. Now, 3 of them. Yeah, 3 of them max. If you get this whole row unlocked, you can kill up to 3 parasites all at once. So that's good, and you do get reputation points for those right away. So that's nice. You can investigate the Colossus. This is when you go to the Colossus, you got to be on one of the nodes that surround wherever crater he's in. And you can investigate him, paying the pink quorum and going for a shard. Now, you don't have to pay the pink quorum. You will get the shard. The shard will have a number on it. Every pink quorum you pay up to that number, you immediately get reputation points. If you're able to pay the total value of that number, you can keep the shard. So I would recommend not going for the shards unless you have at least 3 pink quorum available to you to be able to use to pay. That way, you got a pretty good chance you're going to be able to keep that shard as well as gain all those reputation points. That's what investigating the Colossus is all about. Okay. The next action is going to be retrieving an apparatus. This is a really cool concept in this game, and that's where these little diamonds come into play. You're going to get yourself into the city, and then you're going to select. It has to be, 1, 2, or 3. You're going to remove those as you go through the years. So they do scale with the years. There's actually 3 of them sitting there on top of one another. And you're going to select one of those, and you're going to acquire. Let's say I was going to acquire this one, this apparatus. There's a little notch that's cut out on the side of your player board, and that's going to slot into there. And that's like you've acquired the apparatus, and there will be a set number of reputation points you'll gain just by doing that. And then there'll be a few different things you'll gain by acquiring it and strapping it in there. And it's different icons on each one of them. And it's the same kind of stuff. Like you get quorum, you activate something, you get reputation points, the different types of benefits you can gain in the game. And then you can take an action to actually link that in and attach that apparatus to your board. And that's what these little spaces, these little cutouts here at the bottom of these player boards, these little diamond apparatuses sort of fit in and socket into those. And then at the end of the game, you'll get a reputation bonus based on those that are slotted and socketed in there. So those are really cool. It's called installing an apparatus, or you can do the action called keep watch. And this is, you choose to not perform a standard action, you may still perform a special action. So technically, I said that you really have to do one of these. You can't just do nothing. Technically, you can do nothing, which is just keep watch. I will say that you're not going to utilize that keep watch a lot. I wouldn't recommend doing just keep watch. It's only if you literally just technically have nothing to do. You're ahead, there's just literally nothing to do for the situation that you're in. I would always say look to try to do something. Try to lay some kind of strategy for the next turn. Try to do something, right? But there is that keep watch action that just says basically you keep watch, you do nothing. And then you get your special actions, as we already talked about, which were the curio cards. You can play those. You can also execute this, which does 3 things for you. So let's say you want to take an extra special action and be like going into overcharge mode, below, right? You can do that. And that will allow you to do 3 different things. 1, you can overcharge machinery, which is really powerful. It allows you to just basically make all your machines sort of give you a bunch of quorum. You can overcharge them. You can draw 2 curio cards. Again, when this player does overcharge, probably just going to want to draw 2 curio cards in some situations because that's going to allow you to gain the reputation points. Although that machinery overload, it's called overcharge machinery. That is very powerful because you can gain a lot of quorum very quickly by doing that. Or you can go on the double shift, which basically just means you get 2 turns. You can just take a turn, and then you can take another turn. You only get 1 special actions amongst those 2 turns, but otherwise you can move again, take another standard action again. So that can be really powerful as well. All right. Once the 5th card has come out and has been laid down, which would be all the cards that you've got there in your first stack, that's going to be the end of that year. Every player is going to take 1 more turn, and then year's over. You're going to reset some things. You're going to go to this second Colossus card for year 2. You're going to pull it. You're going to keep the one from year 1 still in the deck, and then you're going to shuffle this one in, shuffle them all up again, and then you're going to go again. And then it's going to go 1 card more, 1 card more. So by the end of the game, you'll have 8. By the 3rd year, you'll have 8 cards in the stack that will fill up all the spots before the game will be over. That's how the game works. It just goes 3 years, 3 rounds. And the game, it's got 90 to 120 minutes. I think the game with four players, if you get into that analysis paralysis of like, where do I move, what do I do? Yeah, it could probably take an hour and a half or 2 hours. I think with 2 to 3 players, you can get through this game in a pretty relative good amount of time, I would say. Only because you do have that clock on the game of those 3 years, and it doesn't just draw on forever until you get to a certain, until you meet a certain criteria. And at the end of the game, you're just going to add up all your reputation points. Over all the things that we just talked about, there's lots of ways to gain reputation points. Highest reputation point, wins the game. And that's all the rules. That's the game. That's how the game is played. So I felt like for this one, it was easier just to kind of go through and explain all the actions and how everything worked versus just playing the game, because playing the game, it's pretty straightforward in the way that you play. You move, you pick up crystals, you deploy machines, you grab these apparatuses, you use them, you do what's on the card. It's a pretty straightforward game as far as that's concerned. But I love how they've mixed all these mechanics together in this game. And I love this mechanic of how you unlock the machinery and skill up and unlock your skills. That's right. Round of applause for Tabula Games on this one. Really did nail it. Did a great implementation of a standard Euro/worker placement. Really well done. All right, let's get into Mystia the Fall. There is a very small amount of components that are going to be included in this game. It's for the prototypes right here in this little bag. And then you're going to have a instruction booklet as well that will be included, and it's really cool. This instruction booklet, I know the white balance might get off here, so I'll just show it and then I'll explain it. This instruction booklet is going to include the items you will need from Mistia. So what are the components that are in this game you will need? What are the components that you will need from Icaion? I'd messed it up again. What are the components you'll need from Icaion? Lists them out, okay? And then the components that you get in this little bag here that are addition. Once you have the components from all three of these, you put them all together, and now you have yet another game. You have a completely new game. So what is Mysthea the Fall? This is a cooperative game. This is a competitive game. This is a competitive game. This is a cooperative game. So you will work together to fend off essentially waves of enemies and defend and basically be the winners if you can make it through the end of the game. Now, it isn't just like a tower defense, just take on waves of enemies and move here and kill this. It's much more than that. You will be doing quite a few different things. So I'll go here and I'll talk about what the player turn looks like. You are all working together cooperatively or win or lose together, but every player's turn will be executed with a day phase and a night phase. In the day phase, you're going to be doing multiple different things. You're going to be able to move, collect, deposit, attack enemies, attack monsters, and investigate colossuses. So the colossus will be there as well. And then it tells you quickly what each one of those things is and how those actions work. It's a little bit more basic. You move around, collect things, sort of bring them back, helps you fight enemies. And then you are going to be able to do a night phase after you do all that. And the night phase is about revealing sort of the, you can think of the same concept as this. You're kind of revealing sort of the event of what's going to happen on the board. So it says a region card is revealed. And then different things are going to happen. Enemies are going to come out. Terrible things are going to happen, basically, turn to turn when you do that night card and you draw that event that you're going to have to basically respond to, much like any cooperative type fend off the enemy kind of game is. Turn to turn, the board's going to change. You're going to have more stuff you're going to deal with that maybe you weren't planning on. And now you might have to take a step back from your strategy and see, all right, now how we want to deal with this. Didn't see that one coming, okay? There's also storm cards that can be revealed. Those will be those little discs that are included in Mistia that will take effect on the game. They actually fit in these craters. Really cool. And there's Colossus cards that can get revealed, and that will actually happen as well. And then there's be an enemy attack phase. All right? And that's how this game works, Mystia the Fall, which is a combo of the components from these two games. All right? So if you are that winner of the giveaway, you're pretty damn lucky because you're getting the awesome resin miniatures, you're getting the prototype of Icaion, you're getting the prototype of Mystia the Fall, and if you are a backer of Mistia and you have this game, or you do go out and pick up this game, you've now got the trilogy that you can play all the way until the release of this Kickstarter of this game, right? Because you can't really play the trilogy unless you have this game here and you have the components. So it is a sweet win, Bear. It is a sweet giveaway. It really is. It is an epic level giveaway that we're doing. All right? So that has been Icaion. That has been Icaion. Oh my gosh, I have so much trouble with this name, but I love the game. Check it out, team, on Kickstarter, being released within days of this video. Go check it out. You are going to not want to miss this one. Get in on it. So hit that like, click the subscribe below to join the team. Keep rolling them crits. This has been the McGuire Review, and we'll see you next time, Bear. Let's roll.